Welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most jaw-dropping moments in daytime television history. Imagine this: the eternal icon, Cher, the woman who's reinvented herself more times than most people change outfits, strutting into the hot seat on The View, ready to chat about her latest comeback album, her timeless hits, and perhaps a dash of her legendary wit. But what started as a glittering promo spot turned into a volcanic eruption that left jaws on the floor and social media ablaze. It was a Tuesday afternoon in late summer, the kind where the sun beats down on New York City like it's got a personal grudge, and the studios of ABC are buzzing with the usual mix of anticipation and caffeine-fueled chaos. Cher, at 79 years young, looking every bit the goddess with her signature long black hair cascading like a waterfall of midnight silk, her eyes sharp as daggers honed by decades in the spotlight, takes her place opposite the formidable panel: Whoopi Goldberg, the queen of unfiltered truth; Joy Behar, the sharp-tongued firecracker who's never met a controversy she didn't poke; Sunny Hostin, the poised legal eagle; Sarah Haynes, the relatable everywoman; and Alyssa Fair Griffin, the fresh voice with conservative bite. The audience, a sea of cheering fans waving signs that read "Cher forever" and "Believe in Us," erupts as the theme music swells, that iconic piano riff signaling the start of another no-holds-barred episode. Whoopi kicks things off with her booming laugh, welcoming Cher as the one and only, the voice that defined generations, and the crowd roars in agreement. Cher, ever the performer, flashes that megawatt smile, her voice a husky purr as she quips, "Darlings, it's good to be back where the real divas hang out." Laughter ripples through the studio, and for a moment, it feels like the perfect storm of glamour and gossip is about to brew into something magical. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer like a pot left too long on the stove. Cher's been vocal lately on social media about everything from climate change to celebrity activism, and whispers in the green room suggest the panel has prepped some pointed questions. Joy, in particular, has that glint in her eye, the one that says she's about to stir the pot. As the segment trolls, Whoopi dives into Cher's new single, a pulsating anthem called Eternal Flame, which is already climbing the charts with its themes of resilience and reinvention. Cher leans in, her bangles jingling like wind chimes in a hurricane, and shares how the song was born from her own battles with ageism in Hollywood, how producers once told her she was too old to headline a tour. The audience nods sympathetically, a few dabbing at their eyes, but Joy shifts in her seat, her lips pursing like she's just bitten into a lemon. "Cher, honey," Joy interjects with that New York edge, "we love your fire, but isn't this just another rehash of the same old diva drama? You've been fighting ageism since the 70s, so maybe it's time to pass the torch." The studio quiets for a beat, the air thickening like fog rolling in off the Hudson. Cher's smile doesn't falter, but her eyes narrow, that famous feline gaze locking onto Joy like a heat-seeking missile. "Pass the torch, sweetheart? I've got a whole bonfire, and I'm not done dancing around it," Cher retorts, her voice laced with honeyed steel. The crowd chuckles nervously, sensing the shift from banter to brinkmanship. Sunny tries to smooth things over, pivoting to Cher's philanthropy, her work with children's charities and environmental causes. But Joy's not done. She leans forward, microphone in hand like a weapon, and drops the bomb. "Speaking of causes, Cher, your tweet storm last week about the election calling half the country a delusion ally that wasn't exactly unifying, was it?" "We're all about hot topics here, but is that the message you want for your young fans?" The audience gasps collectively, a wave of murmurs crashing like applause gone sour. Cher's posture stiffens, her fingers gripping the armrest as if it's the last lifeboat on the Titanic. This isn't just a question, it's a gauntlet thrown down in the arena of live TV, where every word is amplified 1,000-fold. Whoopi raises an eyebrow, her co-host radar pinging, while Sarah looks wide-eyed, caught between loyalty and the thrill of the drama. Alyssa chimes in tentatively, "Joy, maybe we can keep it light, but it's too late. The fuse is lit." Cher tilts her head, that iconic bob of hair swaying like a pendulum counting down to detonation. "Joy, darling, I've been unifying people with my music for 50 years. If speaking truth makes me divisive, then guilty as charged. But let's not pretend you're the paragon of civility. Your hot takes on this show have torched more bridges than I've burned records. The zinger lands like a slap, the audience erupting into a mix of cheers and shocked laughter. Joy's face flushes, her Italian temper flaring as she fires back. Oh, please, Cher, you're the queen of reinvention. But dodging accountability? That's so last decade. Fans tune in for real talk, not lectures from a Botox billboard. The word Botox hangs in the air like tear gas, personal and petty, slicing through the veneer of celebrity politeness. Cher's jaw clenches, her voice dropping to that gravelly whisper that could curdle milk. Botox? Honey, at my age, it's called survival. What's your excuse for that chip on your shoulder the size of Staten Island? The panel erupts, a Whoopi slamming her hand on the desk in a mix of amusement and alarm. Sonny calling for a commercial break that's seconds too late. Backstage, producers scramble, earpieces buzzing with panic as ratings spike through the roof. But the confrontation is just warming up, a prelude to the chaos that's about to unfold. As the cameras cut to break, Cher stands, her heels clicking like gunshots on the polished floor. But Joy's voice follows her. Sit down, Tro, we're not done. The return from commercial is electric, the audience hushed, waiting for the other shoe to drop. This isn't entertainment anymore, it's a gladiatorial clash between two women who've clawed their way to the top, refusing to yield an inch. And as the words fly faster than confetti at a parade, one thing becomes crystal clear. This episode of The View isn't just going viral, it's rewriting the rules of daytime TV drama. Picking up right where the sparks flew, the post-commercial segment hits like a freight train derailed by drama. The studio lights seem brighter, hotter, casting long shadows that mirror the growing rift between guest and host. Cher, recomposed but radiating the kind of energy that could power a small city, settles back into her seat with the grace of a panther eyeing its prey. Whoopi, ever the ringmaster, tries to lasso the conversation back to safer ground. All right, ladies, let's talk music. Cher, that duet with emerging artist Lunavox on your new album, it's fire. The audience claps enthusiastically, desperate for a lifeline. But Joy's not waving the white flag. She crosses her arms, her signature red blouse looking like a matador's cape, and leans in with a smirk that could curdle cream. Music's great, Whoopi, but let's get real. Cher, your activism is admirable, but when you call out politicians by name on Twitter insulting their intelligence, no less, doesn't that undermine the very causes you're fighting for? Or is it just good for album sales? The question lands like a sucker punch, laced with accusation, and the crowd shifts uncomfortably in their seats, the energy in the room crackling like static before a storm. Cher's laugh is low and throaty, more bark than mirth, as she counters, Joy, if my words sell records, that's a bonus. But silence in the face of idiocy, that's complicity. I've seen empires rise and fall, you don't lecture me on impact. The back and forth escalates, words volleying like a tennis match at Wimbledon on steroids. Sonny jumps in, her lawyerly precision cutting through. Cher, from a legal standpoint, free speech is your right, but public figures like us have a responsibility. But Cher interrupts, her voice rising like a crescendo in one of her ballads. Responsibility? I've shouldered more than you can imagine. Sold out arenas at 70, adopting kids when no one else would, fighting for the planet while you debate brunch recipes. The personal dig stings, and Joy's eyes flash with the fury of 1,000 spurned invitations. Brunch recipes? Oh, that's rich coming from the woman whose last tour had more costume changes than coherent politics. You're a performer, Cher, not a policymaker. Stick to what you know, like lip-syncing scandals. The lip-syncing jab references a decades-old rumor, dredging up ghosts from Cher's Super Bowl halftime past, and the audience inhales sharply, a collective gasp that echoes off the walls. Sarah, trying to play peacemaker, stammers, guys, we're all icons here, let's celebrate that. But Alyssa's conservative angle slips in. Joy has a point, division sells, but unity heals. Cher wheels on her, that unibrow arching like a drawn bow. Unity? With who? The folks denying science while my California burns? Spare me the hallmark platitudes. The panel is a powder keg now, each woman fueling their blaze with quips and quotes from past feuds. Whippy, sweat beading on her brow under the lights, signals the crew subtly, but the director's too entranced by the goldmine unfolding. Cut to slow-motion replays in our minds, Cher's hands gesturing wildly, gold rings catching the light like shooting stars, Joy's finger jabbing the air, punctuating each syllable with venomous vigor. Fans in the crowd are torn, a half chanting Cher, Cher, like a rock concert mantra, the other half murmuring support for Joy's unapologetic edge. Backstage, interns scroll Twitter, where #Cher vs Joy is trending faster than a comet, memes multiplying like rabbits, photoshopped images of the two divas in a boxing ring, captioned "Round 1, age versus attitude." As the argument spirals, it veers into the deeply personal. Joy, voice trembling with righteous indignation, accuses Cher of Hollywood elitism, citing her lavish lifestyle amid calls for equality. "You fly private to galas preaching green living, a hypocrite much." Cher fires back without missing a beat. "And you, cashing checks from a network that peddles fear for profit, glass houses, Joy a duck." The crowd erupts again, a tidal wave of applause crashing over the desk, drowning out the producer's frantic whispers in the control booth. This isn't dialogue, it's duel, a verbal sword fight where every thrust draws blood in the court of public opinion. Historical parallels flash through our thoughts. A recall Bette Midler's infamous View dust-up in the 90s, or Rosie O'Donnell's epic Exit. But this is Shakespearean, two titans trading barbs forged in the fires of fame. As minutes tick by, the show's time slot bending under the weight of the spectacle, security hovers just off camera, walkie-talkies crackling with contingency plans. Yet no one wants it to end. It's raw, real, the kind of television that reminds us why we tune in to witness humanity at its most unscripted, unvarnished, and utterly unforgettable. The climax builds, voices overlapping in a cacophony of conviction, until Whippy's gavel-like enough slices through, but even she can't contain the fallout that's already seismic. With the studio still humming from the verbal volleys, the confrontation reaches fever pitch, transforming the View from chat show to Coliseum. Cher, her cheeks flushed under layers of flawless makeup, stands halfway out of her seat, pointing a manicured nail at Joy like it's Excalibur. "You've built a career on snark, Joy, but underneath, insecurity wrapped in sarcasm. I've reinvented myself 7 times, so what's your count? 3 bad hair phases?" The line draws a split reaction, half the audience howling with delight at the roast, the other half clutching pearls in second-hand horror. Joy, undeterred, rises to meet her, the desk between them a flimsy Berlin Wall. "Insecurity?" says the woman who changes husbands like outfits. "At least my snark has substance, yours is just smoke and mirrors, baby." The husband jab hits low, dredging up Cher's storied love life from Sonny to Greg, and the air thickens with the scent of scorched earth. Sonny, ever the mediator, places a hand on Joy's arm, murmuring, "Let's not go there," but Alyssa fans the flames unwittingly. "Cher, your resilience is inspiring, but Joy's right, personal attacks don't help anyone." Cher spins, her voice a whip crack. "Personal? This whole show's personal. You pick at scars like it's sport." Whippy, face a mask of strained neutrality, interjects with booming authority, "Sisters, we're live via millions watching." "Cool it." But the die is cast. The audience, sensing blood in the water, leans forward en masse, phones aloft capturing every frame for eternal TikTok glory. Cut to the bigger picture. This isn't isolated, it's the culmination of cultural fault lines, where boomer icons clash with Gen X grit over politics, aging, and authenticity in an era of cancel culture. Joy's barbs echo broader critiques of celebrity activism, while Cher embodies the unapologetic survivor, her every retort a testament to longevity. As they trade salvos, a divorce queen versus debate dodger, outdated outrage versus eternal ego. The crew signals desperately for wrap-up, but the director milks it, ratings app pinging like a slot machine jackpot. Suddenly, Cher grabs her water glass, not to throw but to gesture emphatically, splashing droplets across the desk like accidental confetti. Joy recoils dramatically. "See, even your props attack." Laughter bubbles up, diffusing momentarily, but Cher's follow-up reignites. "Props? Like your wig collection a compensation much?" The wig reference, A nod to Joy's follicular flare sends the panel into chaos, sorrow burying her face in her hands, giggling uncontrollably. Back in the control room, executives high-five over the surge in viewership, but ethics advisors pace, phones glued to ears with damaged control scripts. Social media explodes in real time. Tweets like Cher just slayed Joy legend status intact. #Feud drama rack up likes, while counterposts defend Joy as the voice of reason against Cher's tantrum. Fan divides deepen as Cher stands flooding with gifs of her turn back time video. Joy loyalists dredging old View monologues for ammo. The argument loops into absurdity, touching on everything from Cher's Vegas residency, glitter over substance, to Joy's book deals, peddling opinions as wisdom. It's cathartic, chaotic, a mirror to our polarized world where no conversation stays civil. As security edges closer, burly figures in black polos blending into the shadows, Whoopi makes her stand, commercial now. But Cher, sensing the tide, delivers a mic drop. This view, it's obstructed by egos. Thanks for the spotlight, Lady Essa. I'll take my fire elsewhere. She sweeps toward the exit, hips swaying defiantly, the crowd parting like the Red Sea. Joy calls after her, run away. True story of your career. The doors swing shut behind the icon, leaving stunned silence in her wake. Fade to break, but the echo lingers, a sonic boom in the annals of TV lore. This moment, it's not just a clash, it's a cultural earthquake, shaking the foundations of fame and festiness. The aftermath crashes in waves, the studio a petri dish of post-blast fallout. As Cher's exit reverberates, the panel sits frozen, Whoopi's hand hovering over her cards like a poker player bluffing a royal flush. The audience, a mosaic of stunned faces, erupts into fragmented applause, some for Cher's grand departure, others for the sheer audacity of it all. Joy, chest heaving, mutters into her mic, "Well, that was Cher," eliciting nervous titters that ripple like aftershocks. Sunny, composing herself, turns to camera with forced poise. "We'll be right back, folks." After this explosive chat, cut to commercial, and the real frenzy ignites. Producers swarm the desk, whispers frantic as they tally the chaos. Ad breaks skipped, segments overrun, but the numbers of viewership spiking 300%, trending worldwide. Backstage, Cher's team huddles in the green room, publicists scrolling feeds where #Cher kicked off his birthing hashtags like #Justice for Cher and #Joy the Jerk. The diva herself, sipping champagne from a flute that wasn't there moments ago, quips to her manager, "Darlings, that's how you make an entrancia and an exit." Meanwhile, Joy paces the wings, venting to a sympathetic Sarah. "She started it. That woman thinks she's untouchable." Alyssa nods empathetically, while Whoopi convenes an emergency huddle, her voice a low rumble. "We ride this wave, but smart and no apologies, just spin." As the show resumes, the panel pivots masterfully, Whoopi framing it as passionate discourse, Sunny dissecting the free speech angles, Sarah sharing a heartfelt "I love both these women." Joy, cooled but in boat, adds, "Cher's a force, but sometimes forces collide." Laughter lightens the load, but the elephant in the room stomps loudly. Cut to viewer reactions pouring in, TMZ tweets breaking alerts, TMZ tweeting Cher storms off The View after Joy Behar botches boundaries. While Variety hails it the Feud fans didn't know they needed, fan forums light up, Reddit's pop culture threads dissecting every barb, with upvote wars between Team Cher's "She's earned her fire" and Team Joy's "Accountability isn't ageist." Celebrities chime in. Madonna posts a fire emoji under a clip. Bette Midler tweets, "Finally, someone said it to Joy #solidarity," and even Elton John quips, "Cher, call me, we'll duet on the diss track." The ripple effects cascade. Cher's album sales surge overnight, pre-orders for Eternal Flame doubling as algorithms push the drama-clipped audio. Joy's book climbs Amazon ranks, her no-filter brand burnished brighter. But beneath the buzz, fault lines crack, insiders whisper of ABC memos on guest vetting, clauses tightening like corsets. Cher, en route to her limo, pauses for paparazzi, flashing peace signs and that inscrutable smile. It was real. "Love Essa, stay fierce." Her words, cryptic as a Delphic oracle, fuel speculation, Feud or publicity gold? Historians of TV recall precedents: Martha Stewart's icy 2006 exit, Kathy Griffin's 2010 boycott, but none with this viral velocity. Social justice angles emerge. Was Joy's pushback valid critique or veiled ageism? Feminists debate on panels of their own. TikToks remixing the spat with Survivor soundtracks. As night falls over in Manhattan, talk shows tee up segments, late-night hosts honing monologues laced with loving jabs. The View's team toasts in the lounge, champagne corks popping like celebratory gunfire, aware they've birthed a beast. Yet for fans, it's more than shade and free idea, it's validation, a reminder that icons bleed passion, not perfection. Cher tweets first, a simple grateful for the heat that keeps me young, #eternal flame, garnering 1 million likes in hours. Joy retorts with a video, debates messy, but necessary. Love ya, Cher next time, drinks? The olive branch dangles, but the sting lingers. This confrontation, it's redefined rivalries, proving that in the arena of airwaves, the boldest voices win hearts, not harmony. And as clips loop eternally, one truth endures: drama this delicious is daytime TV's lifeblood. Diving deeper into the diva duel, let's unpack the layers that made this meltdown monumental. At its core, the clash wasn't just egos colliding, it was eras in combat. Cher's bohemian 60s rebellion smashing against Joy's 80s stand-up cynicism, both forged in fires of feminist fight but fanned by fame's fickle winds. Cher, born Trillian Sarkisian in 1946, rose from El Centro obscurity to superstardom via Sonny Cher's folksy charm, her half-tattooed, full-voiced persona shattering norms. Hits like Gypsies, Tramps, Thieves and Half-Breed tackled taboo, her Oscars for Moonstruck and Vegas residencies cementing icon status. But it's her candor tweets railing against Trump, fundraisers for Ukraine that irks traditionalists. Joy Behar, née Josephine Akiuto in 1942, Brooklyn-bred firebrand, parlayed teaching into comedy gold with The View's 1997 launch, her liberal barbs earning Emmys and enmity. Her books, like When You Need a Laugh, mask a steel spine shaped by widowhood and wage wars. Their beef, a microcosm of media's evolution. Cher's global stage versus Joy's water-cooler wit, activism as art versus opinion as outrage. Post-show, fallout fractures further. Cher's camp leaks ambush claims, alleging producers prime Joy with loaded prompts, while View insiders counter with organic heat, citing pre-taped segments scrubbed for safety. Legally, whispers of defamation suits swirl, but both sides' lawyers laugh it off. If publicity's the real payday. Culturally, it's catnip. Podcasts like Call Her Daddy devote episodes to who won the war of words. Guests from RuPaul to Gloria Steinem weigh in. Cher edges polls 60-40, her underdog allure trumping Joy's home turf tenacity. Sales soar. Cher's album hits #1. Joy's merch sells out, but scars show. Cher skips future View invites, channeling ire into a docuseries Unfiltered Icon, premiering on Paramount with raw footage. Joy pens a chapter in her next tome, Clash of the Co-Hosts, framing it as tough love for a tough town. Broader ripples, networks rethink hot seat protocols, guest contracts balloon with confrontation clauses. Fans form factions as Cher Con 2026 adds a View Vendetta panel, while Joy's comedy tour sells a survived Cher tease. Psychologists chime in, calling it displaced ambition anxiety, two trailblazers territorial over the trail, yet silver linings gleam. Younger viewers, alienated by polished pods, flock to The View's grit, ratings up 25%. Cher mentors via IG Lives, schooling stars on boundary-setting. Joy guests on Bill Maher, defending feisty feminism. In Hollywood's echo chamber, the spat spawned scripts A Diva Down, a biopic dramedy with Gaga as Cher, De Niro as Joy. Critics praise the chaos as catharsis in corsets, a reminder that women's wrath, when wielded wisely, wields power. As months pass, détente dawns, a joint Variety interview, awkward hugs and hindsight humor. Cher, Joy's got guts. I respect the gall. Joy, Cher's class act, even in combat. The reconciliation. Box office, Baby Netflix special Fire Spice, their truce tour packing arenas. Lessons linger, in spotlight's glare, Vulnerability's the real vogue. This blowout, not a bust, but a beacon approving legends don't fade, they flare, illuminating paths for those bold enough to follow. And in TV's timeless tango, such tangles make the dance divine.